Have you heard of the mighty church that withstood the island of the howling winds for more than 100 years? If not, listen closely because Group 3 of 2AR1 will be guiding you as you delve into the vast greatness of St. John the Baptist Church. St. John the Baptist Church, or most commonly known as the Bato Church, is located in Bato, Catanduanes, Philippines. This is the oldest church in the province that has stood the test of time and several natural calamities. It was constructed in the latter part of the 16th century at the time when Spaniards introduced Catholicism to the natives and established parishes and built churches. However, the presently standing stone church took 53 years and under 6 parish administrations to build from 1830 to 1883. Here are some interesting facts about the church. First, it was built on the site of the first cross planted in Catanduanes to mark the grave of an Augustinian friar, Diego de Herrera, who died in 1576. Second, it was built in the spirit of bayanihan by the natives who toiled like ants until each brick adhered together. And lastly, it had a legendary bell that warned the Batonhons of incoming Japanese guerrillas during World War II.
For the materials, aside from the usual construction materials like concrete and gravel, the Bato Church is known for its unorthodox materials like coral and clay. This feature made the church to be one of the rare churches withstand calamities like earthquakes and last for hundreds of years. Recently, it was renovated, but Sanchez, a Barak native, stated that the unique materials were preserved since they only replastered the church stone fabric by the river and coral stones for its maintenance. They also changed the cement plaster to lime plaster since it was more appropriate in sealing moisture.
What makes up the church complex? Shown at the bottom left is the facade with small plants sprouting from the stones, which adds an amazing character to the church. And being the only remaining structure of its kind in the entire province, St. John the Baptist Church had retained its old colonial look despite the test of time. On the right side are close-up images of the belfry, a part of the bell tower that houses the bells. It offers a refreshing view from the church to its surrounding neighborhood, including the Bato River. It also acts as a dwelling place for bats, which is the reason for the stinky smell.
The Bato Church is in a single-nave Baroque style following the Latin cross plan. This is clearly seen in the aerial photo showing its roof and the Bato River. It was constructed with an elevated facade given the site's sloping terrain. The site has an arched entrance on the right, and the main church portal has an articulate approach. The walls deviate from absolute flatness and are lined with windows. Analyzing further, the church has rows of pews that face the elevated altar on the front, and across this was the past choir loft, which is now a simpler wall and a spiral staircase. There are recessed, semicircular arched, stained glass windows on the interior. And lastly, the bell tower serves as the church's entire second level, which is crowned with a dome.
Just like many larger-scaled Catholic churches, Bato Church also provides similar spaces designed for different functions around the church. As you enter the structure, you immediately enter the narthex, which is the opposite of the church's main altar. Following this is the gallery, which can be found above the narthex. As you walk past through the narthex, greets you with the nave, which guides you directly to a beautiful apse in the opposite end of the church, also known as the altar.
Here up front, you can see the predominant articulated quadrilateral shapes with concaving sides which arches to the top, emphasizing the protruding square forms that carries the dome with a cross as its crown. It is symmetrical and balanced, which can be seen from the grounded visual weight of its stacking cubes-like appearance. The church towers over nearby elements, asserting its significance within the area. The facade has a simple stone brick texture with stairs that converge to an arch entrance framed by pilasters. It features 2 niches, a round oriental arch window for the bell, and decorative engaged columns on top of a pedestal, with 2 pairs on the protrusion and 1 on each end framing the deviated sides. They seem to support the cornices that contrast the second floor level.
What makes the church unique in the Philippines? The Philippines is a country teeming with Catholics, with churches playing a significant part in our culture. While traditional Catholic churches find their basis in Roman architecture, making our churches adhere to the Roman ideal, there are some elements of Filipino culture that made their way into the structure. For example, many Filipino churches include a retablo or cabinet of saints, which has pictures of various religious personalities organized in hierarchy. Reliefs or relief-carved images also reflect the way of the cross and saint stories. These characteristics have Spanish origins, although they have expanded to include Filipino ornaments.